Salutations and welcome to the next episode of Lingo Tips by me, Jimmy Lingo. Today's tip is a how-to on parking your domain. This topic was actually requested by my friends at Q of E Marketing. They are a great partner to have if you're trying to set up an e-commerce business, build and promote a professional portfolio, or any other project that would benefit from a digital marketing campaign. Their clients often have websites they've built that need to be paired to a domain name, which is why they've asked me to make this tutorial. I should say now that if you purchased your domain as part of a package with your hosting from the same site, then this video is probably not for you, as your domain should automatically get configured. This video is for folks who've purchased their domain separately, which is often the most cost-effective route. At this point, you've already built a website and purchased hosting somewhere, probably with Wix or Weebly. Also, you've searched for a unique domain name and have purchased it from a place like GoDaddy, Domains.com, or 1&1.com. You want to link them together so that when people put your domain name into a web browser or click its link, they'll be sent to your website, and the website will display the domain in the URL bar while you're there. That's what we mean when we say domain parking. You can actually have multiple domains point to the same site. For example, if you enter bofa.com into your browser's URL bar, you'll be taken to bankofamerica.com. Both B of A and Bank of America point to the same site, but only the fully spelled out name is actually parked. In order to park the domain, we'll have to perform two steps. The first step is to configure our domain to direct traffic to the web host we are using. This will have to be done at the site you purchased the domain name. The second step is to configure your web host so that your website points back to the domain name servers that you're using. Having the name displayed is important because you want people to see the domain you've purchased, not your host's default name, like myproject.wix.com or weebly.com/myproject. The result is a circular process. The domain servers point to the web host and the web host points right back. But both steps need to be completed before the domain is fully parked. We're going to set up the domains first and then the web host, but in most instances, you can go in any order. You might want to keep both sites open in separate tabs so you can bounce back and forth during the process. Also, for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume that you've already created accounts, purchased domains, and built your site so that I can go directly to parking your domain. If you haven't done all of that yet, then you probably want to pause this and get that out of the way. GoDaddy is by far the industry leader in domain registration and the most popular place to get a domain. They provide a lot of great services, but sometimes navigating around their site can be awkward. When you go to GoDaddy, and we're already logged in, there's actually several different ways we can go about this. The most direct route is to click your account name in the top right corner, and then in the menu that appears, click Manage My Domains. This is going to take us to an old school domain manager, where we can see a list of our domains. Next to the domain we want to set up is this little button with a triangle pointing down, and that brings up a pull-down menu with the options to set name servers. This is pretty much the fastest way to get to here. Now there's a whole bunch of other features we could configure, but to park the domain on our web host, all we really have to do is adjust this one setting. Again, if you've bought a package deal from GoDaddy, then you won't want to change this. But since we're connecting two separate sites, we're going to select Custom, click Enter Custom Names, and these two boxes are where we're going to put the name server addresses for our hosting site. Each web host is going to have its own unique address, but usually they start with something like ns01 or ns02.wix or Weebly or whatever your host is. NS stands for name server, and in this instance, we're pointing the domain to the host at 000 web hosts. Again, always confirm this information is correct from your hosting service, and then click OK, and we're all done here. Now I use 1&1.com rather than GoDaddy, and that's because they have a great deal for new users. You get your first domain for its first year for only $1, and that includes free private registration and email, so big savings. They're also a bit easier to navigate. First thing we see when we log in is our control panel. There's a couple of ways we can get there. We can click domains here in the side menu or this manage domain button, but we want to go to our list of domains. Now we can see the domains we own, and each domain has these three dots here, which opens a pop-up menu. They actually have other options to help you through this, like use your domain, but the most direct route is to click the advanced settings entry. From here, we can scroll down to DNS settings, DNS standing for domain name servers, and we just want to click edit. Okay, now we can manually configure our name servers after scrolling down. Again, don't change this if you're getting your hosting from the same place as your domain, but in this tutorial, we're going to want to select other name servers. Now this lets us enter one of our name servers, but we're going to want to expand this list because we're almost always going to have multiple name servers. That way, if one server is down for maintenance, there's a backup and your web traffic is never interrupted. Do not click this Use One-in-One Settings button as it will reset you to defaults. Instead, scroll down and click Save. Cool, and that's it. Now that we've got our domains pointing to the web host, we need to tell the host to expect this traffic and what domain it should display. Wix and Weebly are great products with awesome site designs and features, but since we have to pay them money before we can park a domain with them, I'll be using 000 Web Host in this tutorial. What I love about 000 Web Host is that not only does it have an easy and straightforward site builder called Zero with all the functionality you'll need, but your first 2 sites are hosted entirely free of charge. For Wix and Weebly, the basic process is similar, but you'll find it's a few more steps, and they're only available if you've upgraded to their paid services. I won't be going over them specifically, but I will provide links to walkthroughs for both at the end of this tutorial. After we've logged into 000 Web Host, we need to select our site, and then up at the top, we need to click Set Web Address. We skip down to the bottom and click the Add Domain button. We have a few options, but we want to select Park Our Domain. And here's where we get the exact URLs we needed earlier when we were configuring the site we purchased our domain at. Finally, we just have to type the name of the domain we own here. Because we've already configured our domain registrar, this Manage button will let us link to the website we built. This will only be an option once both sites have been pointed to each other. We do have the option to use a subdomain, but for your core site, that can be reached by typing www.yourdomain. We do not want to select this. And really, you should have something in your core site before you start using these subdomains, but it is available in case you want people to go directly to a subpage by entering something like blog.mydomain.com or project.mydomain.com or something like that. It can take up to 48 hours for the connection to work, but in most cases, if after an hour entering the domain doesn't bring up your site, there may be a typo in your configs, or you may need to clear your browser's cache in order for the site to come up. So, as we saw, there's free hosting at 000 Web Host and dollar domains at oneandone.com, which is pretty tough to beat. If you are interested in taking advantage of these great deals, you can find my referral links at the site listed below or in this video's comments. There's a ton of great links there to products that I personally use, sometimes with cash bonuses, and using these links helps to support Lingo Tips, which I certainly appreciate. Also below are links to similar walkthroughs you can use for setting up Wix and Weebly, respectively. Well, I hope this tutorial has been helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or constructive criticism, please join the conversation over at lingotips.tumblr.com, or you can post on my group at facebook.com/promethatech. Promethatech.com being the website I use for the various services that we offer. Thanks for your time and patience.